Is the video going up too, or just the audio?
Yep, video and audio.
Okay.
All right. So RIghtonQuelive, we're live, and I'm back with another episode, the second of this Zoom series in the middle of this world crisis, pandemic, life-altering, historical time for everybody. And I have a guest. Introduce yourself, miss.
Hi, my name is Junae Brown. I am CEO founder of Brown's Perfection Agency, marketing strategist, event producer, all that good stuff. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming through. As we were saying, it's been a tedious
We've been trying
to lock this down.
I feel like since like February, right? We've been trying to make this happen.
Yeah, but February 09-ish, like, you know, like
right. I can't.
You know, about a smooth decade at least, like. But, yeah, I'm glad to have it happening. So with that being said, tell a little more about yourself. And matter of fact, instead of going right to that, how about talk about how this current state of affairs has altered or shifted or affected you into the way with your business and your creative pursuits and things you maybe you expected, didn't expect, and how you look forward to moving on. And then maybe go back into everything you do. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, it's been interesting for me because I actually had already pre-planned for the second quarter of the year for our company to be very digitally focused, very like product focused, and like not as hands-on as we usually are. Like we do a lot of events, and even like when we have clients for marketing, I like to usually like cap off the strategy or the plans with some sort of launch or in-person like experiential, experience basically. And so, but because we had so many digital things that I felt like we weren't focusing on because we were always in the field, I was like, okay, quarter two, we are going to be like super digital, focused on just like content, products, and like, even if it comes to clients, like mostly digital content strategy. Like I really don't want to be pulled in different directions. And it's weird because, a lot of like my colleagues or even like some people on my team are just like, but why? Like, I mean, okay, I guess. And I also had some like big event plans with our party series that me and Kim Chanel throw together, Travel for the 9-9. We had some really big plans, but even those were scheduled for the summer. So it was like, cool, quarter two, we're going to do all this digital stuff, get it out the way, get that flowing. And then like quarter 3 and 4, we back outside. And then Corona happened. And so like, yeah, I was like tapped in. I really be tapped in sometimes, I guess, to the universe or whatever. But I was like, fortunately, we lost out mostly on like things like South by Southwest that we kind of already started to invest in. We have partners. Luckily, even with that, like I was able to like pivot that situation and, lock them in for things that are happening later, and also, pivot some of the projects and partnerships and turn them into like digital campaigns. So that's just kind of been how I'm moving. I'm really big on pivoting just because, when you have your own business or you're just in creative fields, period, like things usually don't always go as planned. Like you can plan as much as you want, but then it comes to the point where stuff just happens sometimes, like shit happens. So when it does, you got to be able to like maneuver. And that's pretty much what I feel like I'm doing right now. It is weird being inside so long, but I work from home a lot, and I've been on bed rest like twice in my life where I had to be in bed for 4 weeks at a time. So, I've done a couple of big.
So you've been tapped in since the beginning. You've been.
Yeah, this is so crazy. Like I'm so ready for the apocalypse. It's ridiculous. Like I don't know. Yeah, so
Brown to perfection.
Yeah, I've mostly been comforting like people, like my loved ones and my friends, and like even my interns and people who aren't used to dealing with these kinds of things or just being, I guess, this flexible. So I feel like that's been more of the change for me. I've set this business up purposely, so that I could run it from anywhere in the world. I really like having the power of like being flexible and like being able to do what I want, when I want, how I want, be wherever I want. So my workflow is already set up like that. Like it's literally like if I was in Australia right now, not yeah, I'm very big on like having to be somewhere when I have to be there. So like if there's an in-person thing, if there's something I have to do, and kind of planning that out. And yeah, my plan was to be between a couple of cities this year anyway. So, thank God, so far so good. Like, I mean, we have to see how things go down the line and when things do kind of open back up and what the climate is going to be like. But, for now, gratefully, we are okay.
You're in a good space. That's good to hear. Good to hear. So what did you say? Like you said, you do a lot of digital campaigns. So is it more so like just all marketing? So if I was a client, I want to come to you and say, help me with a certain campaign of a certain product, or do you deal with people on a long-term basis, or exactly how do you set up your business structure?
So it depends on some different things. It
And
depends.
also, real quick, how long have you been with? Have you had
Oh,
everything established, this whole journey?
so I've had Brown to Perfection Agency since late 2016. Before that, I worked at Sony Music, at RCA Records and Columbia Records. And I've done some work, at CBS in marketing and different departments. But as far as having the agency since late 2016, I've been doing that. When it comes to clients, though, it really depends. Like I always feel like no client is the same. I have certain things that I do often in my work, but I feel like it just depends. Like it depends on where the client is in their journey. I used to do a lot of work with indie, either indie or emerging. I have to say emerging. So with emerging,
I like that time.
yeah, like, emerging acts or media personalities or, artists, companies, you name it. And it takes a lot of work because usually when you're emerging, you don't necessarily have all the other pieces yet. And I have skills in other areas, but primarily I like to focus on marketing. I like to focus on, whether it's traditional marketing, digital marketing, a little event marketing, but mostly like that's my expertise. But I found like when you're working with emerging people, there's a lot of groundwork that you have to do. So at one point I was doing coaching. I still do consultations, like one-off consultations with people. And I mean, you can book as many consultations as you want. I do have a couple of people that like they're a consistent consult and I just kind of guide them through. And then there's other clients where it's like more of a retainer basis. So we're working together, usually it's, okay, I'm breaking down the brand, we're rebuilding it up from scratch, and we're usually leading up to something, whether it's a launch, a release, a goal, like it has to be something. And usually that can take anywhere from, 3 months, 4 months, depending on how much time we got, and how big the entity is. Because some people it's like, we got 2 weeks, we got to make this high. But okay, let's do it. But yeah, retaining clients is usually like 3 to 4 months. And, if we choose to keep working together, then cool. Sometimes the project is just done and then they call you the next time they need something. But yeah, and when it's not that, it's, a lot of partnership work with companies and like larger brands is usually like partnerships and campaigns. So whereas I am helping them to authentically tap into like my market, like whatever their target is. Like I work very well with like, the urban consumer, urban professionals, like women of color, creatives of color, like, Black people that look like me and like what I like. And I like to say I'm like the cross between, I have like the business acumen. So it's like, oh, I know the bottom line and I know like the stuff we need to hit, but then I also know culture and I know like
You
what's
can be
gonna
the nice bridge for the
yeah, because it's like I know what's gonna come off like fake and phony. I know like whether this is gonna work, whether it's not. What we really need to do to like tap in and really like, create that brand loyalty, because essentially that's what brands want. They don't just want you to like fall in love with the product one time, use it and be done. You want them to like build a relationship with the product, so that even after
cultural type
over, yeah, like
connection.
you want to create that. And so that's a lot of what we do. On the community side, I like to like, give a lot of resources in wellness and marketing and business development, online and soon through digital products. We do workshops and I also just throw parties because I like to have a good time. I like bringing people
We need
together.
balance. Yeah, balance is good. Yeah.
You
After
know,
all of that conditioning,
yes,
apocalypse training. You
yes.
gotta have a party.
And it
Yeah, the
all
world.
comes together, honestly. A lot of times I'm able to like mix in my partnership clients, and if it works, mix in the artists that, you know, mix in the DJs, mix in the personalities. Like it definitely, I think creating cultural moments, whether it's in person or online, is definitely my thing. And I like, you know, bringing all the different pieces together so that everybody can benefit and, you know, be their best selves in whatever space we create.
Yeah, that's dope. 'Cause I know that's things I aspire to do. So I always just in my own way. So I like to see when other people extend themselves, but it's always just seem like a natural extension of. They're not necessarily reaching, and it all makes sense in their
Yeah,
world of.
gotta
Yeah,
make
so
sense. It's gotta
yeah.
make sense.
So you clearly being a black woman, like I said, you know how to connect certain things and being a bridge. By the way, I like your turban. I love when black women wear turbans. Head wraps that is not said like a turban. But so question: would you say you identify yourself as a woman first or a black person first? First part of the question.
I like love hate this question because it's like, I feel like people probably gonna hate my answer too, but
I
I'm a
heard both sides, so I
I'm
don't
a
know.
black woman. Like there is no
Talk
separation.
heavy.
Like
Talk
there's no
heavy.
separation for me. Like I don't get brownie points because I'm a woman in certain spaces. I don't get brownie points because I'm black in certain spaces. Like there's a quote that says, you know, like the most protected and disrespected entity is the black woman. Like it's so true. Like I already have 2 strikes on me when I walk in the room automatically. You know, it's a little different, you know, for black people, that's a thing. Like you black, like that's your first strike. But like Black men, you still have the factor of being a man. So even though we have very, you know, we're all dealing with a lot just being
Of
black
course.
in the world. But you still have the level up because you're a man, because patriarchy exists, right? So you still a man at the end of the day, and people are still going to respect you a little differently because you're a man. So now I'm black and I'm a woman. It's so much that like goes into that. So I would never, it's such a unique experience that I could never like separate the two. And I don't think I could ever like really choose because I truly identify with both a lot. Now, I feel like though, you know, when it comes to the conversation, I'm always going to advocate for women, but I'm absolutely always going to advocate for Black people. And Black women is like up here for me. Like
Talk heavy. I
always.
respect it.
That's number one. So I would say both. That's such a hard question. I feel like nobody asks men that. Like nobody asks y'all like, oh, do you identify with being Black first or being a man first? It's like nobody asks y'all that. I feel like we're the only ones who get this question. It's so funny.
Okay. So
I think
you know, again, I do fucking podcasts. I've been on other shows, so I've been around this topic and this question before a few times. Um, I've even asked. I've had the element also of sexuality being introduced to it, and the person I asked me was a gay man, and he said, "You'd be surprised how many straight black men would say they would have their sexuality very high, like they pride themselves like their straightness." And I was like, "No, I'm straight. It's not that deep to me though. Like no, like I'm very much so black, a man, and then straight. Like that's how I look
that's
at it,
fair.
whatever." But I was having a casual debate with one of my friends, and he feels he's annoyed when he feels if anytime a black woman says she identifies herself as a woman first, because he feels it's like a white brainwashing conspiracy type thing that like
Okay.
all the
Okay.
all the Karens of the world have played against us to try to put us against each other and try to say, because you know we all know about people know of like how the feminism movement was and how like white women capitalized off the black women's work, but then kind of left them in the dust and shit like that, whatever. So we was talking about how it's probably always beneficial for black people to embody and identify the blackness before anything. I say that is the common plight that we have. But I always understand if a woman wants to say she's a woman first, because I do personally agree that black people are at the bottom of the totem pole, but black men do tend to poured on the Black women because they are beneath us. So I can understand it both ways.
It's a thing. It's a thing. So I honestly feel like, yeah, like I'm a Black woman. Like we have our entirely own like different experience, but I do know what you mean though with the feminist movement, and it is troubling because it's one of those things where, you know, we hate this term, but not everyone. Like there's a lot of people that I feel like really do believe in the women's movement, and it's its own thing and it's a good thing, but there's an entire portion of within that movement that tries to erase Black women, brown women. Like it's just it's honestly insane, especially because, again, like you said, we started doing the work. So it's very weird. And honestly, truly, me being somebody who's very like, you know, I'm very big on integrity. I'm super big on being on the right side of history. Like I'm really passionate about a bunch of different causes. And like, it's almost strange to navigate that because it's like, you got to look left and right, and sometimes you don't know who your ally is. And so that's why it's like, honestly, the safest bet for me a lot of times is, listen, I'm going up for who I see needs the most. Black and brown women, like first and foremost. Anybody else, like, love y'all, because I love people, right? I love humans, period. Like, you're a good person, that's it. I love you, right?
Because right is right, wrong is wrong, but at the end of the day, usually like, the Black woman, you know, yeah, everybody's against y'all a lot of times. So I get that for sure.
So it's just like, but I do have to keep my eyes open to see, like, okay, who's really an ally and who's not, who is in this for some other strange reason, and who is actually, are we on the same page? Like, it's definitely something you have to be careful about and navigate, because the Karens of the world do exist, and some of them pretend that they're pro-women, like all women, when it's beneficial to them, and pretend to be an ally when it's beneficial to them, but when it's not beneficial, now all of a sudden we back in the dirt.
Amnesia, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what are you talking about? So, yeah.
My man, he actually made another interesting point. He said, and again, it's not I get why it happened, because, you know, women are the patriarch. I get the whole thing. But he said, you know, a Black woman could see something happen to a white woman and have a relation to it. Right? Like, oh my God, common womanhood. I get that. Like, a Black man sees something happen to a white man, we don't give a fuck. Like, it just doesn't translate. Like, we don't have that connection as manhood.
This is the thing. Why though? Because men are not oppressed like men, right? Black men, brown men, there's oppression there. But the way you identify with a white man is being a man. That's where y'all identify. But there's no oppression in being a man. Right. So there's nothing for y'all to connect with. There is oppression in being a woman, no matter what color you are. Like, even being a white woman, even being, you know, an Asian woman, Black woman, brown woman, Latino woman, it's like being a woman has always been something where you're oppressed. Like, we're always like, we just got rights 5 minutes ago. Like, it's just like
4.5.
We still don't have equal pay till this day. We don't have equal pay in anything. Like, we still make less. And then, so it's like, we do have an identification where it's like, oh, we do have some of the same struggles, not all the same. And that has to be acknowledged as well. But okay, I can identify with you in that space. Now, though, let's talk about the equal pay. It ain't equal, but if you look at women, Black women are still making less than white women, than Asian women. So it's like, now that's a whole nother. So it's just,
since you bring it up, like, I'm not studied in that type of topic or matter, but so I always hear about the wage gap, women make less and stuff like that. But when I hear certain stats about Black women, of course we know you're the most educated, but I also feel like I've heard stats or statements that Black women also have some of the highest salaries because they're like the highest graduates and most educated. Is there some correlations in those as well? I'd be trying to figure out like where is like.
I don't know. I've never read that.
Okay.
I do know that in certain fields, obviously the salaries are just higher. So if we're graduating into those fields, we're going to make high salaries. But as far as like the differences in those salaries, so like
if it's a Black man, a Black woman in the same field type thing.
Yeah, or a white man, make it like that pay gap still exists. I think it's starting to close because a lot of women are speaking up now. and understanding that it exists and like refusing to just take whatever we're thrown and not taking the first offer or even the second offer and standing firm on that. And there's a lot of like diversity inclusion happening, especially in higher paid salary areas, but that gap still is not closed. Every year they still protesting for equal pay. Why? Because it still ain't equal. So, you know, we are, and that's the crazy thing. It's like we are the most educated, usually the most qualified as well. And it's like still like not getting that top salary. But yeah, I haven't heard of that gap closing. That would be amazing news.
Gotcha. So one of my like latest guilty pleasures on social media is Karen outrage. You know, when I just see these different videos the past few days, the past week, of just different Karens doing a bunch of just nonsensical things, sometimes horrifying the way they be lying and just saying anything in videos. And also it's kind of amusing because it's like, y'all are really retarded. It's like this level of delusion and false realities is ridiculous to say the least, whatever. So what are your thoughts on the Karens and just like, yeah,
honestly,
and how they're also trying to make that the N-word now also.
It's ridiculous. Like, honestly, the Karens, the way they carry on and act is sickening to me. It's absolutely sickening. And I feel like you are not a rational human being if you don't also think that it's sickening. I think it's absolutely ridiculous to try and create an oppression that doesn't exist in order to manipulate and get your way over on hardworking people, especially hardworking people of color that are in the midst of a pandemic still trying to get you some nonsense that you probably don't even really need. Like, it's just like people are risking their lives to provide a service to you, and you are using this as, in general, my issue with a very certain sector of America right now is that there's so much happening in the world. There always is, but especially now. And of all the things to protest and like speak out about and like stand up for, they are choosing like Red Lobster and not wearing a mask in Costco's. Like, I don't understand. Like, y'all got AR-15s at a government building because let us go to work.
The Red Lobster biscuits though, like you gotta.
No, the biscuits is not that good. Not for the beat down she's about to get. Not for the beat down she's about to get.
Like Olive Garden bread ain't that deep, but the Red Lobster.
And I honestly, you know, I'm not an advocate for violence, but in a lot of them videos, I was just kind of like, I wish they would have just let the person go, because you don't put your hands on nobody, don't get in nobody's face, don't do nothing crazy. If you don't, and that's the thing, they're not expecting to get for there to be any retaliation. And if there is retaliation, which a lot of times they're like antagonizing people to get one,
I'm straight the victim.
I'm wow, I was attacked. Like,
that's the true mental illness of the Karen disorder. Like,
it's mental illness. I think it's just intense privilege. That is how, if you've grown up, it's just like children, right? If you are raising a child and every time they throw a tantrum, you give them exactly what they want, no matter whether they were right or wrong, then they're going to keep doing that. And I think that is the same thing with privileged white people, because there is no consequence and they've lived a life without consequence and without oppression. Oh, absolutely. I know if I stomp my feet, raise my voice, and shed a couple of fake tears, I'm going to get what I want. And this person is gonna get reprimanded. It's truly disgusting to me. And so like it's great when they don't get what they want, and it's like it
glorifying.
It becomes an example. But I just feel like it's disgusting that it happens, and it's not just Karens. Like there's Kens too. Like it's really a thing. And I'm really not a fan. And I'm almost like, it's strange because, you know, I grew up in New York and I have a mixed family, and I've just grown up around or even like family members that have all different types of friends. I've grown up with all different types of friends, and I just feel like I don't know if it's because I'm from New York, but I feel almost like there's two different types of white people.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah.
Like there's literally like two different types of white people. And even in New York now, the sector of, I feel like, Caucasian people that are doing these strange things or disrespectful things, most of them are not from here. Most of them are gentrified people from Kentucky or wherever. No offense, Kentucky, but from wherever. And it's just like bringing that energy. Like, granted,
they're not used to being around so many people and learning to.
Yeah, like there's white privilege everywhere, and they use that whenever they want. But in a place like New York City, there's still just a certain respect level, just a common unspoken understanding. There isn't such a huge, like, you know, outside of like, you know, systems like the police, there really just isn't that type of relationship. Like, it just really never was. And I feel like the more and more the city has gotten gentrified, the more you see it. And then it's like you can have this interaction with this person, and it's like, where are you from? Idaho. Okay, understood. Like, it's just strange. And I feel
North
like
Dakota.
Yeah, right. It's the same way like when you go to California. I feel like it's very similar. Like, there's this unspoken commonality, and it's cool. Like, most people cool, whatever. Leave me alone, whatever. I'll leave you alone.
Because like you said, like, you grew with a bunch of people, so most likely they grew with a bunch of people, so they understand other people exist, and I have to be respectful.
Exactly. We may not live in the exact same places, we may not do the exact same things, but we do have to cross paths. And it's not like, you know, you'll go into certain states, and like, as a Black person, and you'll see the little kids look at you at Walmart like, what is that? Like, literally, because they don't see Black people. You pull a white kid from Midtown, they're not gonna look at you. They're like, okay, like, they're not going. It's just not a thing. And so,
get on the train, okay,
right? Do. That's it. Like, oh, I like your sneakers, like, maybe, but like, no, it's not strange like that. And I feel like racism and white privilege is definitely something that starts at home. And it's just like, I'm tired of the mutation. Like, I really would like it to end. And, you know, shout outs to the people that get outside of that environment and are like, oh snap, wow, okay, this is bad, this is terrible. I do think that we're kind of nearing, I won't say the end of, but like, it's getting thinner, at least I feel like, generationally. Like, we get at least some people that are like in their 40s and they're like, yo, my grandparents they're kind of, I think they might be
for sure,
racist, you know. And like, I don't really want to raise my kids like that. So it's like, but it ain't happening fast enough. Like, we need to, I don't know, middle America, honestly, they might be a lost cause for a little bit, because I don't know.
Middle America and then Florida is just, we got to do something about.
I don't know.
We don't got to talk about that though. Yeah, we don't, just leave Florida where it is.
God bless.
What was I say? So, being from New York, question, very important. You know, see where you stand, see how unbiased you can be. Do you think New York guys can dress?
New York what?
Can New York guys dress?
Most of them.
Okay. So you stand by.
Yeah, I think New York guys, I mean, honestly, if you look around across the states, absolutely. Because there's definitely not a city that I think dresses better than from New York. Like, no. No. I feel like there's now, just like every place, there's some sectors of the city that is just like where you are in 2003. But that's like
Philly, we always rank our, not boroughs, but hoods, of course, whatever. So can you give me some rankings of the flyest, best guys?
Okay, well, first of all, Harlem gets the money. So Harlem people in general is super fly. I don't care what you say. One thing you're not going to say about a person from Harlem is that they can't dress. That when it's time to step out.
We can say a lot about Harlem.
You're not fly, but you can't say that. You can't say we're not getting money. And you can't say we're not gonna look like we getting some money. That's not allowed here. Like, that's it. Even on our off day, we still gonna, it's still gonna be pulling out something. So I would say Harlem guys get it first. Then this is hard, and people might not agree with this, but the Bronx. Men from the Bronx who get fly, they pretty fly. Like I've been like, okay, the Bronx is like Harlem's problematic cousin. So
yeah, I hear they. Okay, I've heard that. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. Also, men in Harlem too. A lot of men in Harlem, Brooklyn too, but especially Harlem. Like Manhattan was right there. So luxury items and like even when we were young and shopping in Soho and stuff, like that was always a thing. Getting fly was always a thing. Who had the best this, that? You had to have your jacket, your jeans, your kicks, whatever. So that was the thing. I would say, and the Bronx is right there. So, a well-dressed man from the Bronx is hard to beat. Like, and again, there's sectors of the Bronx where I don't know what's going on. But for the most part, they good. I would say then Brooklyn. Now, Brooklyn people are going to be so mad at this, but this is why Brooklyn people are third, because it's still a lot of Brooklyn people that dress like sometimes like a certain rapper in Brooklyn that we also love, but really crazy sometimes. So they be throwing in they be too matchy. Some of them too much colors.
Red
like
Timbs.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but the thing is with Brooklyn, I think sometimes with Brooklyn people is sometimes they think that throwing a bunch of labels together automatically makes a fly outfit. And I don't believe that to be true. Sometimes it's like, okay, just because you got on 6 pieces that are a big name brand doesn't mean they go together.
No, I'm Gucci head to toe. I didn't miss. I'm Gucci head to toe.
All right, but you look crazy. However, there are mad people from Brooklyn, because my Brooklyn friends is about to get me. There's mad people from Brooklyn who are fly though. Like mad people from Brooklyn that are fly.
But you're still third. Not enough. Yeah.
He's still third.
Still third.
Third because there's still areas that I won't name deep in Brooklyn where people dress like they haven't been outside in 10
I guess the
years.
Black Album. They still dress on the Black Album.
Honestly, that's how they're dressing. Like Jay-Z, Hov gave it up mad long ago. Why are you still dressing like him in 2003? So I don't know. Now last. Oh wait, no, I actually got a couple more. Damn, there's so many boroughs. Staten Island people, honestly, they're their own, literally their own island.
Florida?
They're not.
Florida?
I don't like to say it, but I will say that the people that I know from Staten Island dress pretty nice. But that's only a handful of people. I don't really know much about.
So 4 people. Got you. All right, cool. Only 4 fly people on the whole island.
10,
I hear you.
Maybe 10.
Cool.
And they all dress nice, but they all dress nice. So I give them that.
Gotcha.
Queens is after Brooklyn.
Gotcha. We can end it there.
Queens people, it's 2 sides of Queens. Like it's Queens people that dress nice. And then there's people from Queens who just can't put an outfit together.
At all, to save their life.
It's hard for them. It's really, I don't know why it's so difficult. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know if it's
I hear it in your voice. You're just so disheartened by this. Like,
it's really disappointing. It's really disappointing. And even like, as a woman who like, grew up here, it's like with dating, it's like Queens guys, they usually got some money, they usually got a car, they usually really polite, come from a decent family. But then it's like,
damn.
Them fits. We got to work on this.
See, and Philly,
not all of them, but
a good amount, enough amount to be fourth.
Yeah,
so I hear it.
Queens girls, some of them are really cute and they dress really nice and nice and cute. My cute bougie Queens friends, but then some of them crazy, just crazy. It just gets real tacky real quick. They're gonna be so mad at this episode, but it's the truth.
That's cool. It's cool. Yeah, I'm from.
Honest.
And for Philly, I'm from Germantown. I always say we got some of the worst girls in my whole city. Like I've been in my whole life, and trash. I would never take a Germantown girl. It's like slim pickings.
Nice.
Yeah,
Then there's Long Island, who we don't really include in the city, but they refuse to be left out of the conversation. Long Island people,
Okay.
no, just not.
They refuse to be left out, but they will be left out. Okay.
But it's just like Long Island people, most of them don't dress well. The ones who dress the best are the ones who live closest to Queens. And with them, it's really just, it's like, they dress like, it's like suburban hipsters with money. Most of them, not all of them. Because again, there's some people that dress really
10,
nice.
10 people. 10, we got it. 10 people.
Not 10, nah, not 10.
Shout out to y'all 10. And, yeah.
But it's just, it ain't, it's like, and that's the thing. I feel like the people that I know how to fly, they're like some of the flyest people from that place. Versus like you going there and everybody's like, all right, pretty fly, you know, even on a bad day. It's like, I don't feel like it's like that there. But hey, what do I know?
Okay. Cool. Business practices and like mentality. So why did I think of this? Oh, all right. So it doesn't matter. So one thing I always found interesting about like the Rockefeller breakup, right, was, you know, I'm a Dame Dash fan. He be saying anything a lot of times though. Like it's his way, as most people can. Yeah, if you're unbiased, you can admit that Dame, his delivery is be out of pocket, and that's what, you know, shit like that, whatever. So, but in hindsight though, I feel, of course, it's all assumptions, but I would assume that Hove made the decision of like, you know what, this partnership probably isn't good long term because, you know, you mean well, we just on two different frequencies and we don't operate the same. So has been something you ever thought about in regards to how you deal with people, how you deal, or how you personally deal with stuff, or people you work with, just how you handle business and how you deal with people, communicate, and how certain things probably aren't good long term and having to make certain decisions and stuff like that?
One, I love Dame, and I agree with you. A lot of times it's just his delivery, but he's saying some real stuff. And
Always, sure.
being from Harlem too, like a lot of the like principles that he discusses really is like law here and how you grow up. So it's not difficult for me to comprehend. And I respect him like staying a hustler no matter what. But besides all that, yeah, the answer is yes. Like I am very, I'm very empathetic. I care a lot about people, even when it's work related. But I also do understand the danger of having dangerous cargo on your ship, right? Like what I am building is so great and it's so important, not for me, but like for the advancement of people that come long after me, that I'm not willing to risk much of anything. I'm not willing to risk anything for it. I'm big, like I said earlier in the conversation, like I'm big on integrity and I'm just big on peace. Like if it's something that's, detrimental or could be detrimental or is just not working anymore or is bad for the brand, I gotta like cut ties. I gotta like create some space at the very least. Like I'm not one to leave people in the dust or the dirt or like do people dirty, but if it comes to the point where this ain't working or, you are going to stop this from getting to the next level, then, I got to figure out a way to politely depart. I mean, I'm big on communication. I'm not one to like just, all right, peace, or just, dead people or ghost people. I think that's like super, not just unprofessional, but it's just fucked up. Like, are you a person or not? Like,
especially if y'all had a certain rapport before, yeah.
Exactly. Like open up your mouth and like have a real conversation with someone, even if it's not comfortable conversation. At least a person can walk away still respecting you. I'm big on that too. Like at the end of the day, it's not personal, it's business. If it ain't personal, right? If it's personal, I'm gonna say that too. But 9 out of 10, it's not personal, it's business. So like, let's call a spade a spade. If it ain't working right now, it's not working. It's not that I don't love you, no love lost, but I got stuff to do. And, like Nipsey said, like everybody can't go. Like sometimes that's what it is. Sometimes you outgrow people, you outgrow dynamics. you outgrow business relationships and situations. Like,
stuff can be phases, yeah, for sure.
yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely one to like, if I'm always bigger picture. So if I'm looking at the bigger picture and like a certain aspect of life, whether it's professional, personal, you know, somebody that's working within it, if it's no longer working, then we have to continue to move on, because, you know, it's just like fruit. Like, you leave a piece of bruised fruit in the bowl, next thing you know, all your fruit's jacked up, and now you don't got nothing, when you could have just tossed the one fruit. Sorry, but move on.
You could have talked to the fruit, explain what happened, you know,
I'm
say,
so sorry.
yeah, we gotta
I
politely
know.
depart.
We
Yeah.
gotta move on. We try to make
Yeah.
some pies and stuff. We gotta move on.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's definitely my take on that. It's not easy to do, I'll say, though, as a leader, as somebody who does care so much about people. I think anytime in my life when I have had to do that, it's eating me up. Like, I've definitely gotten better at it over the years, but it is something that bothers me. But that's also why I'm big on teaching. So like, no matter what capacity it is I'm working with someone, you know, I'm doing things, but I'm not just like doing everything and like you don't have any idea of what's going on or how things go. I'm big on like you also learning, so that if at any time this relationship no longer works, you're not just like assed out, don't know what the hell to do, what's going on. You should still be able to function without me. Like, I am so not into like building a dependency. One, because not just because, oh, like you may not want to work with me one day, I may not have the capacity to work with you. Like, I have my hands in a lot of different stuff. Like, there's a lot of places I want to go, want to take my business, take my brand. I have my own personal brand. Like, I may not be able to even be as hands-on with you one day. So it's
hold
like,
everybody's hand,
yeah. And I would feel like I did a terrible job if, as soon as I stopped dealing with a project, it's horrible. Like, no, like we should have some, you know, some longevity that we built up there.
You can pass the baton in a sense.
Yeah, and then you also would know what you need in the next marketing manager and the next whoever. Like, you should know, like, okay, these are the traits that I need. This is what worked when we were working with Junae. Okay, so now we need this, or this is what didn't work when we were working with Junae. So what to add, and like, yeah.
Okay. Would you say being a leader came naturally to you, or because I know you said you had in that certain department you had to grow and learn a little more and get more comfortable, but just the actual role of a leader, was that natural for you, or were some things you had to learn and adapt to and, you know, get better at in a sense?
I definitely think it came natural. Like, being a leader, that's definitely a natural thing. Something that I didn't even know for the longest time was a thing. I've just always been someone who takes initiative, or even if I try to like sit by, for some reason, everybody, it's like you're doing a group project first day of school and everybody's like, can you tell us can you figure this out? And it's just like, all right, I guess so. And my brain,
real quick, were you the type to do all the work and want to take all the credit? Or because some people, like, I'm the type, right, where I may do most of the work and just not care about who gets credit as long as we all get past it. But some people like, fuck no, fuck y'all, I did this shit. This teacher, they didn't do nothing. They told me to do everything.
Those people are so petty, but no, that's not me. I'm actually the person that, like, because if I do most of the work, I don't want it to look like that, because to me, that's bad leadership. So what I would do, and what I still do, is when it's a project, even if I'm taking the lead, I make sure that everybody else involved has their part in their piece, which ends up making it in a way, I guess, look like it shows that you did all the work anyway, because you're directing the people, like, oh, and so you know, now for the this part, right? But I'm definitely not. I think it looks so tacky when you just stand up there and they all in the corner like.
I ain't gonna lie, I respect it. That's LeBron. That's LeBron mentality. I definitely had the more so Kobe, like, no, all right, fuck all y'all. Like, all right, guys, you can't figure it out.
I'm definitely like probably more. I think I'm like relentless like Kobe. Like, I love that mentality, but I am like LeBron in that sense. Like, excellent, but like team oriented. Like, I don't know. That's how I look at leadership. I was crazy. I had a conversation with my mom the other day about something that happened in college. threw this big ass party for my birthday, like my freshman year of college. Pretty much got kicked out of my dorm because somebody laptop broke. Mad shit going on, right?
Sounds like a good time. Okay.
It was great. It was lit. I had people from the city come because my school's in Long Island. I had so much fun. But the dean of students was a Black lady and Black woman. And when it came time to determine the punishment for my crimes, I'm sitting in the office with her and she's talking. I'm just like, are they kicking me out or what? Because like, it wasn't that serious anyway, right? 19-year-old. And so she was like, you know, she was like, do you know you're a leader? And I'm like, thanks. Okay, like what the hell does that do anything? And she told me a story about, she's like, I've seen it. And I'm like, what is this lady talking about? She's like,
I just threw a party. Like
where is this going? And I had a really high GPA too. That's why she was also like, I don't understand. Like, you have a 3.6 GPA. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, it was my birthday, but okay. I was always the kid who's like really smart, but like we also lit. So it's like, oh, I'm still gonna have a good time. Like, don't let the A's and B's fool you. So she's like, oh, one time we were all in like one of the lounges at the school, whatever, and it was something they threw, and it was like a bunch of balloons, and everybody started like playing with the balloons, fighting each other with the balloons. It's being stupid. And she kept asking everybody to stop. Like, her and the other deans was like, can y'all stop? Can y'all just, stop, whatever? And nobody was listening. And she said, you turned in one motion. She said, you didn't even say it loud. You were just like, guys, come on, like, just stop. Like, let's just chill out. She said, and it was ridiculous. She said the balloons magically fell out of their hands. She was like, they even sat down and everything. She was like, I've never seen that. She was like, and I'm the dean here. And I was just like, oh, okay. I could barely, I was like, oh, that day? I was like, oh, yeah. I mean.
All right, that was a Tuesday for me. I control people.
Yeah, I was like, honestly, they were doing too much. That's why I said something. I was like, and y'all kept asking them to do it, and I got tired of hearing y'all ask, so whatever. And she was
Sound like a leader. All right, cool.
I was not thinking like that. And she was like, yeah. She was like, that's leadership. And she was like, that's one example. She's like, I've been watching you, and you do it all the time. And she was like, whether you know it or not, you're a leader. And she was like, because I organized that whole party as well and had the entire building partying as well. So she was like, use, that for good and not
for good.
Try to give me the superhero speech, like, use it for good.
With great power comes great responsibility.
She might have threw that in there too. I was just like, okay, lady. But it stuck with me. And I think as I progressed, not just in college, but career and moving on in life, I've seen that. I don't know. I am the oldest of my siblings. I also am the oldest girl when it comes to my cousins. And
would they call you bossy?
Not bossy. That's the thing. I'm not bossy.
Okay.
I'm not
curious.
bossy.
Just curious.
I'm particular.
Particular.
Like, I hear everybody out, right? And I'm always open to suggestions and other people's ideas. But if I know something is going to go a certain way or we need to do this, I'm definitely going to be vocal about it. And I'll be like, okay, we could do that, but this has to get done. Like, that's how I am. But I don't think I'm particularly, except for when I'm in a crunch. Like, sometimes it's just like, all right, this needs to get done. So can we do this, that, and third? Cool, awesome, wonderful. But I wouldn't consider myself bossy. I wouldn't. I don't think, I mean, I also do I self-evaluate. I talk to people that I'm working with, and their opinion of me also, from what I know, is not bossy either. Like, I have maybe a boss air about me, but it's not because I'm like cracking the whip all day. It's just because like, we're gonna get it done, like that type of.
I gotta call the siblings and the cousin for the end of this episode, but just for the second opinion.
Get the real.
So speaking of also just like business and cutting ties, and also whatever. I'm sure you heard about the whole Duce Palooza Chris Styles thing. What are your thoughts on that? So speaking of just like having to cut people off, would you say like your initial reaction when you was hearing about the certain accusation on stuff was like he has to be cut off completely from the business, one, and two, I also thought it was interesting so many people just say Duce just canceled now and da 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 da. What are your thoughts on that?
I feel like Duce is not responsible for a partnership, just like any company, honestly, their responsibility lies in like who they're in partnership with and how they move forward when something happens. That's just how partnerships work. You can't blame, in general, you can't really blame people for things that they were unaware of. You can only, consider what they do once they're made aware of things. I'll be very careful how I speak on this, just because I know pretty much all of them personally. And the whole thing is just crazy, but I will answer the question. And so the question is, when it comes to something like that happening with a brand, I think when you have a brand, company, business, when something like that occurs, you have to make a decision. Like, you have to take a stance. And I think when it comes to integrity, when it comes to being on the right side of history, whoever it is, whatever it is, has to go. Like, that's just the reality, especially if you want to maintain the trust of your consumer, of your audience. Like, that's it. And I'm someone who is very serious about that as well. And, I think I have a pretty solid squad, but God forbid anything of the sort, or anything like that ever happen, like, it's a non-negotiable for me. And I think everybody that works with me knows that. Like, that's a non-negotiable. Like, love you down, but no. It goes back to the beginning of the conversation. Like, I'm not carrying dangerous cargo. We're not sinking the ship for anything or anyone that's within our control. Like, not doing it. So I do think that when something crazy like that happens with a brand, I mean, I think you have to consider everything. Like, there isn't always an immediate right or wrong answer, depending on the topic. Like, I think this topic is pretty clear, but like, other things happen in life. Like, we work in entertainment, so it's like, it could be anything. And like, there's just so much. Sometimes it is just that, it's just so much can happen. But I do think that when it's very clear and blatant that there's wrong happening, yes.
Yeah, it was very interesting situation, because one, I just thought it was unfortunate, because I actually never personally been to Duce Palooza party, but looking at it from a distance, everybody knows about it, whatever. I've always respected and thought it was amazing. They were able to build up something, be a fucking touring party, always look dope, got big guests or whatever. So to see like the narrative, and then I know how social media is, narratives can spread fast enough that it becomes the truth. So the same people can play with the idea of like, if you go to Duce, you support rapists and all. So I was like, whoa, like, that's just weird, and like, that's one person's action. Like, that's not like demonize an entire brand that's been clean thus far. I thought it was just weird.
I think that that's a problem in general, that because as adults, everybody's responsible for themselves. It's one thing if there's evidence that you were a witness to something, and you knew about something, and you turned a blind eye. That's wrong. But you can't assume just because somebody, like you said, went to an event, bought a t-shirt, was at the same party as somebody that they know. Like, to be honest, and when it comes to things like sexual assault, it's not exactly that something most people put on Front Street. Most predators are not walking around just doing that. And it's difficult too, because for women, most women, don't even realize that they've been sexually assaulted until it's too late.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people even expressing that.
Yeah, when it happens, it's a very, unfortunately, even though it's never the abused fault, it's never the victim or the survivor's fault, you can definitely internalize it, and you feel like it's your fault, like you did something wrong, you messed up, or it's just plain embarrassing, especially if it's, it's in general, but I could imagine, especially if it's somebody that people know. And so it's not exactly something that you are going to walk around talking about. Some women push it to the back of their mind, and to just because they want to forget about it, right? But doesn't make it any less wrong. And I just don't think, though, that you can assume, as much as we want to, you cannot just assume that anyone affiliated is now that. Like, you can't say that. Now, when it comes to your personal morals and integrity, what you choose to support after things come out is totally up to you. But yeah, I don't think that's fair, because it's not fair, because that could be any of us, right? Like, there's people all the time, like their family, you got a cousin or something, God forbid, and they lose it one day and they do something crazy, kill somebody. It's like, now you wasn't there, you didn't know, like, you sitting at Thanksgiving, he was being regular.
Ain't that your favorite cousin? Oh, I can't fuck with you no more. Oh, no.
And it's like, you can't control the actions of others. Like, and again, if you didn't know, if there's sometimes there's people and they're like a messed up person or a terrible person, that's not somebody that you should be affiliated with, hanging out with, relationship with. I'm big on that. Like, if you are not a respectful person in general, that's not, like, no. But you can't, I don't think it's fair. In short, I don't think it's fair to blame anyone that's ever known the person or ever participated in, like, that's not fair. That's not even realistic. It's like, okay,
I agree.
like,
only thing I looked at, it was like, again, because there's no proof, that's how I had my feelings about it, whatever. But I did think it was interesting that people had such, because there's no proof, I can't say I don't believe it. But I just thought it was interesting. They say, we had no idea, there was no signs, never seen any evidence. And I just thought, ever? So I was like, there's no proof of it, then yeah.
I don't know. Like I said,
of course, I respect it.
I can't pretend like I don't know many of them personally, so I would never get on here and like go back and forth and discuss that or anything that they're going through. Because I feel like the whole thing is crazy and unfortunate. But
one last point though about just general woman accountability, because I was having a few conversations with some female friends that I have, and they were saying, of course, him or whoever the guy, any guy that sexually assaults, sexually abuses women, manipulates the course, whatever, is wrong. But of course, people try to take the narrative and take what's going on and be like, well, is this rape though? Is this that? Or they try to, have semantics battles instead of dealing with like the real issue is a man isn't respecting a woman. So if it's a narrative getting twisted, they trying to exaggerate what happened. It is what it is. You should respect women. You shouldn't do certain things. They can't switch a narrative about you. But is there something to be said about women taking accountability in any type of situation where it's like, why? And I'm not talking about walk down the alley at night, anything like that, anything can happen to you. But is there any type of situation, any type of conversation to be had about women taking accountability, like still continue to talk with a man, communicate with a man, and when he's already presented himself?
No. There is absolutely no accountability to be taken, quote unquote. They playing with firecrackers, Harlem. There's no accountability to be taken by a victim or a survivor. Because to say that a victim or a survivor needs to take quote unquote accountability would say that for some reason they're wrong, or for some reason there's some sort of justification in what the abuser did to them. And that's not the case. Anybody that violates you, violates your space, violates your, or tries to take away your right to say yes, to say no, anyone who does that is done. They're scum. They don't, you don't owe them anything, period. Like I will absolutely never turn to a woman that feels like they've been violated and try to say that. And I feel, it's crazy. I had a conversation with a very good male friend of mine, and, his stance is like, even if I don't feel or didn't know that I was violating, I can't say to a woman that I didn't. Like, if she felt like I somehow violate, even if it wasn't purposeful, that's what happened. That's what I did. And you don't get to take a woman's right to feel how she feels or say that. And you don't get to say that, oh, because maybe she texted you again or whatever the case is, that somehow that wasn't wrong. Like I just said, another thing is, again, sometimes people don't even know that they're being violated until they sit and are able to process what's going on. That doesn't make it any less wrong. If you felt like, even if even goes down to like, you know, well, most of, you know, people that I know that have sons, it's like, if it ain't a yes, if it is not a verbal yes and like a calm, like assured yes, not forced, not like coerced, because coercion is a thing, like not a yes, you had to like, you know, you may have to like encourage her and like, you know, box back and forth to get a yes.
Or guilt trip her.
No, yeah, guilt trip, manipulate, then it's a no. If it's not a clear yes, then it's no. Like, it's just like money in an ATM. If it's not $1 in there, it's $0. Like, there's no in between. It's not like, oh, maybe I got some money, but I can't really see it. Like, no, it's just no. And I don't think that that's something that is like enforced enough amongst men in general, because it's just like, there's this sense of entitlement, and there's, I guess, a million reasons why, but there's just this sense of entitlement to women's time, space, energy, sex. And it's like, oh, if I did XYZ, you owe me this. If I do this, that, and the third, then that means the next thing that happens is supposed to be that. Oh, I want you, so I should be able to have you. I want to touch you, so I can. I want to look at you a certain way, so I can. And it's like, no, women's bodies are not like property. Like, we're human beings and we own our space. So like, no, I don't care what a woman entertained. I don't care what she did. I don't care what she wore. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like, if you violated that, you're wrong. And like, that's it for me.
Do you think men are given the same rope, for lack of a better term, or benefit of doubt?
When it comes to what?
Like that type of situation. So for instance, let's say we go out on a date, right? I sit at a table and I say, I'm glad we finally got a damn guy, finally get to meet you. And you say, yeah, fuck all that. I'm here for your money. I'm here, like, your dick big or not. Like, what's really going on? I'm here just for your money, this and that. I'd be like, whoa, like, yo, I'm really trying to get to know you. Like, let's relax. Why are you talking about money? Like, I mean, you must be a broke ass nigga. Must be a broke ass little dick nigga. Now, I need you gotta be a certain pay grade nigga to even mess with me, or you playing game. You know, fuck you, a broke ass nigga. And just start kind of acting the scene, right? And then I'll go out on a date with her again. Would you? And I say that story, and it ends with her saying she ruined my apartment, something like that, right? Would you? If I say that story, do you think people would have sympathy for me, or would they say, "Stop thinking with your dick"? You niggas love crazy bitches. She showed who she was, but you wanted to hit so bad, so you didn't care. Men love crazy women. Why would you care? Do you think I would get sympathy for that?
Those are the same conversations. Like, I
know.
think
I'm not even trying to equate the same.
And like, I don't think sexual assault equates to anything, but definitely not like you choose to entertain a woman who don't know how to act in public on a date. Like, that's totally your business. I don't think it's just not the same thing. Somebody
I'm not trying to necessarily equate. I'm just saying, like, but what you think? Would I get sympathy though? Do you think I would get sympathy, or would people just say I was just stupid, or I should have just accepted her for what she was? I get what I get type thing.
That depends on people. But you see, the reason why this is not a good analogy is because, again, when it comes to something like sexual assault, most people are not wearing that out loud. Like, there's some people who do, and even if that's the case, again, I'm not blaming a woman for, like, you still don't get to violate people. I don't care what the hell is your personality or whatever.
Wrong is wrong.
Wrong is wrong, period. And I feel like it's not a good analogy, because wrong is wrong, and that's an entirely different thing versus like, you sat down to eat with her and she showed you who she was, right? But that's behavioral. That's not her reaching across the table and putting her hands in your pants. That's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. That's not her feeling like, you know, her throwing a glass at your head. Like, that's not the same thing. It's just different. But that's a totally different scenario. In that totally different scenario, I mean, yeah, you could have thought maybe she was having a bad day. Maybe I want to try again. Or maybe I really do like her, and let me see if maybe I can push past her behaviors. Like, I'm not going to say that you're wrong for that.
Okay. And the only reason I even said that is because it was so many different type of story situations with the guy. One of them was similar to that, where it was a dinner table. But whatever. Let's say you meet with a guy, you've been dating a guy for a few weeks, few months, or whatever. You take him to the cookout, your family cookout, whatever, and you find out that he used to date your mom.
What? This feel like something that they would ask on. You ever used? Oh, you from Philly, so I don't know. Cherry, on Hot 97 at night. This she used to have a show. People who listen probably know I'm talking.
Okay,
It was like a
okay,
very Cherry question. If
okay.
I go to a cookout and I found a guy, first of all, that's impossible, and I'm gonna tell
No,
you why.
okay, why?
Because my mother's married. Number one. Number two.
She had a little side dude a while ago.
No,
Like.
no, no. Number two, like my mom is about to be 50, so I'm like, what were you doing? But let's say if some
She
in the
went down
John
to
F.
Harlem.
vacation scenario, right? This happened. How? First of all, how am I finding out? He would have to go. He would have to go, and my mother.
No, it's a deal breaker. Oh, the
I'll
mom
be,
got to go
yeah.
too.
I would be so pissed with her. Like, what was you doing running around with him? What were you doing? What were
You ever
you doing?
seen Brothers, right?
And I'm telling too. Oh, I'm telling.
You was
Telling my stepdad too. Because why was you running around with him? Then again, that's my mom. Me and my mom are really close. I'll probably just
exactly hold it down.
I'd be like, ew, he gotta go. He's cut off now completely. But she would cut him off too. Like it wouldn't be no conversation. Like we would be like, oh. She'd be like, you gotta go. And I'm like, what? And then she'd have to tell me, and I'd be like, really? You gotta go. Me and my mom look very much alike too, so it's no way he would.
He had a type. Yeah,
You know.
okay.
But never happens.
But have you seen the movie Brothers though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Marsha, remember he brought Gabrielle Union, but she dated the dad before. It was a whole big thing and stuff. And I was having a conversation, and I was like, me personally, I'm done with her. I'm cool off that, whatever. My man was like, I mean, I wouldn't care. Like, it's my dad in the past. But he'd throw it off, dude. Though I actually believe him, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, he threw it off. Like, yeah. With your social media, right? Would you say I find it interesting how people move with their social media, because some people are very, of course, like aesthetically conscious. They gotta look a certain way. I gotta post at certain times. My follower count gotta be like this. I don't want to see certain things. I know me. I'm way more anal about what I follow on Instagram than on Twitter. Like it's something about visuals that I have a very short tolerance. Like I now hate you. I don't want to see this anymore. Like, but words. It's just like it's way more leeway. So, but also with people. Some people they only like to follow like creatives or like pursuers in a sense, and they don't really like to follow their people that's not doing anything per se, like regular people, unfortunately, for like a better term. How do you think about that in regards to social media? Like, I want to maybe only have people on Facebook or certain people on Twitter, or like not follow my family, or only I want to follow only. I know people that say I don't want to follow like stuff that just inspires me. It's like art and architecture and stuff like that. How do you deal with your people?
I feel like I am very.
Some people literally follow anything.
Right. I feel like I'm super intentional about my space, like physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And I feel like everything that you intake, from like what you eat, what you watch, what you are seeing on social media, like I try to tailor it as much as possible. I think I have like a little bit of diversity. Like, we got like people that are just, kind of like, I'm a marketer. So people that are just kind of like in the consumer pool, like regular people that like, I know whatever, because what they think is important when it comes to doing. And then obviously like dope creatives, being and working, moving in the music industry is a lot of like industry people on my social media. Then, you have obviously close friends and family that have known you forever. And then people who are inspiring, people who are doing dope things, people who I feel like are starting or a part of dope conversations. I'm big on energy, like not to be cliche. And I feel like I can feel that sometimes through the screen. Most recently, I've had this thing where I don't feel like just because I know you, I need to follow you on social media. Like if you're not talking about things that I feel like are,
I'm big on that. Like we cool, but I don't like your page. I don't like your thoughts.
I don't like what you talk about. Like, and honestly, I'm at a point where like, if we're not super close, the muting is not a thing. It's like, I'm just going to unfollow you. Like, we don't have to follow each other. I'm not mad. And honestly, I don't care about followers in the sense of like, oh, I need a bunch of followers. I need to look like I don't follow anybody. Literally, when it comes to like, yeah, you want an audience for what you're doing and for your work and what you feel like everybody wants that. Cool. But it's not like an ego thing for me. So yeah, I'm just not that attached to it. I'm good at social media, I'd say, but I'm not attached to it in a way where like, oh, I need to be following these people or these people need to be following me. Like I try to tailor the experience. I think right now I'm way more likely to like follow people back on Instagram. Twitter though, I think I spend so much time there and it's a constant influx of people's thoughts. I'm like, yeah, if you constantly saying stuff that just don't work with my energy, like I just finished meditating for 30 minutes. I'm drinking my chamomile tea. I'm vibing. I got a lot of work done, and you come on with some nonsense. As soon as I open, you gotta go. No. And granted, like you do have a couple of key people, you know, keep it balanced. They got, you know, sprinkle a little ratchet in there, so I know what's going on. But I don't like. I can have my whole I'm like super like love and light, sparkle Twitter. Like I don't. I'm so, and that's how I am in real life. Like I'm like real Badu, but then like I'm also real just like Harlem girl. So I like that mix, but not too much of either, basically. So I think I'm kind of the same way on Instagram. Instagram, like I like to follow people that I feel like are doing dope stuff in creative fields, you know, colleagues, some friends, people that I think are cool, and then like dope, inspiring pages. I follow more like hashtags too. So if it's a topic that I like I like looking at mental health stuff. I like looking at marketing stuff. I like, you know, if I find a page and like visually it's dope and it like sparks my creativity, then it's like, cool, that like some, you know, alignment stuff, some like energy healing pages, like I'll follow those. It just really depends. If you're an influencer that I think I like, you know, I'm research, like all day long, I'm doing research. Most of the time when I'm posting on my social media, I'm testing out practices because I'm really big on like, if I'm going to tell a client to do this, I need to know like what really works, what doesn't. And I don't have one type of client. So I need to be able to see like, okay, let me do this, that, and the third. Does that work? If I'm reading up on like new tactics on digital, I need to try it out because I need to see how it works so that I can like help people that are paying me to help them.
I'm curious. So, like, can you give me maybe like one free giveaway, maybe that's dated, like a tactic that you know you did for a client or you tried out before?
What's a good
social media basic question?
Let's go super basic. One thing, well, since I'm on a podcast, I'll say like one good thing is, so for podcasts, like giving people one consistently, but giving them a full production promo every time an episode is coming out. So like, let's say like for a TV show like Insecure, right? They give you like a little teaser a couple of days leading up to Sunday. They give you like probably a clip from one of the best moments or most interesting eye-catching moments in the episode. Then they drop the episode and then they do things to engage you after the episode so that by the next time you know it, oh, it's time for the next episode. I think that works well with the cycle. So like stuff like that. I would say like I've given to people, I try to like, and just visual things, right? So like everything matching, and like you don't want to make it difficult for people to understand your brand or understand what's going on. So you need to definitely have like an overarching theme, and then everything you do and say that goes under that has to match, even aesthetically, like just being consistent. And just, I think with branding is just, you're really just shaping, like it's storytelling and it's like creating your characteristics. Like I always like to use the example like with Rihanna. If you survey 100 people and you ask them for 3 words to describe Rihanna, you want to get many of the same words over and over again because she's created her brand. You know who it is. Like even when she went from like the island girl, right, to, you know, some crazy things happen in her personal life, and then she became good girl gone bad. She's taken that rebrand and she's been able to keep rebranding as time goes on. She just keeps refining it. She adds a little here, takes a little here, and it's like right now we're in like Rihanna the mogul phase, and it's like it matches though. You didn't feel like a huge shift. You know, things happened for her, but you didn't say, oh, she completely like change. It's just like, no, we've been growing with Reed this
A
whole time.
natural evolution, yeah, like
Yeah,
that was happening the whole
to,
time, but
yeah, it's just like seamless branding, and so I feel like that is something that I try to, because it's just like I tweeted this yesterday. Life is one big rollout, right? And like that's what it is. You constantly rolling out to roll into the next thing, and or even like, you know, little things that I like I'm trying to think of like the last thing that I tried on my page. And I honestly, I laugh sometimes when I'm like doing certain things, because I'm just like I'll try out definitely tools and apps for sure. Whether it's like design stuff or if it's just like scheduling tools, or like even like right now I'm playing around with hashtags again, because there's this whole conversation, and these don't always apply to all clients, because sometimes it's just like maybe there's an emerging company or brand and they're trying to build up their social media. So it's like, okay, how do we approach, because we have to set up their social media accounts, like how do we approach Instagram? Do hashtags still work? Are they still relevant? And if they are, how are we, you know, how to utilize it and move it? And you can read about these things 1,000 times, but you really don't know the land, especially with an app like Instagram. They change their shit every week.
you always hear people complain about the algorithms and stuff now.
They just do whatever the hell they want. And so like you definitely have to like, you find a hack and then you like be prepared to find another one in 3 months. But yeah, for example, so like you go on my Instagram page right now, you'll see that like I'm playing around with hashtags in the comments, in the caption, different ones. And
Have you ventured off into TikTok yet? With, you know, any type of marketing tactics,
like
stuff like
the
that?
biggest secret ever, but Brown Perfection has a TikTok.
Right on Q Live exclusive. Okay.
I have a TikTok. I haven't like released videos on there, but we've had a TikTok for a minute. Like definitely since last year we had TikTok. But yeah, definitely have a TikTok. Definitely know what's going on there. Also, I don't get to personally spend too much time on TikTok, but I also have people where like I have them on platforms. And so I have gateways into what's happening directly on them. And then also just my eyes are peeled for seeing how a platform like TikTok is translating over onto other socials. I always tell people like, I'm a master researcher, right? I can find out almost anything in like 2 minutes flat. Now, the thing is,
Oh, you be stalking dudes too?
I don't stalk people. I don't stalk people. I don't. That's too much work. But if it's something I want to know or need to know, absolutely gonna find out quick. So I am the friend though. If push comes,
I was about to say, do the girls go to you?
If push comes to shove, but only if push comes to shove, because me, myself, and all the women that I'm like connected to are very like, we on our shit, like we got stuff to do, so it got to be somebody she really care about and some sort of like she really needs to know.
They about to walk down the aisle real quick, but wait, first
something, it got to be something intense, and then it's like, okay, cool, let's get it. But we not just doing that on Saturday because he didn't text you back. We not doing that. So yeah, but anyways, even like I have to constantly be aware of what's making people tick. That's my job. So even with stuff that I don't necessarily like, I think some people make the mistake of, when you have this type of role, they think that they need to indulge in everything. I'm a human being, and humanly, I don't have time to do that, right? I can't watch every TV show to know what people are liking and what genres and why. No, I can literally, I could read a description, I could watch a couple of clips, I could whatever, just look at the conversations and understand exactly why people like what they're indulging in. Like, for example, what's something that I don't watch, but I understand what like.
Let's see.
Because I don't watch a lot of TV, to be honest. Like I pick
Mm,
like one show, and like that's the show that I'm eating with my meals, and however
okay.
long to finish it, whatever. I like historical dramas and stuff. Like I'm like right now
All
I'm
right,
watching
hit me.
Vikings right now.
I've heard that's good. I've heard that's good. Okay.
It's so good. It's
Okay, that's on my list. Okay.
so good. What's about this author? But so good. But let's see. Okay, I've watched this now, but before I didn't watch it. Game of Thrones, right? I was not interested. I was like, I'm not watching it years and years and years. But I totally understood why people watched it, and I could understand the psychology behind a Game of Thrones fan. That's an example of like me really
Interesting. I know
surveying
me. I remember
the.
before I started watching it, I baffled, and it was one of those shows where I feel like usually when you're late to a party, it's easy to get it spoiled because of like if you don't watch Insecure, you know what's going on in Insecure. Like it's very clear, whatever, just by seeing the commentary. Game of
Right.
Thrones, I can see people talking, using names. So I didn't know what was going on. So by the time I watched it, I had no idea. I said, "Oh, okay, dragons out here. Okay, cool. Like
Yeah.
this is going
Nah,
on."
Game of Thrones is amazing though. By the time I finally watched it, like I was hooked, and I've actually been watching historical dramas ever since.
Okay.
I've watched like almost every historical drama on Netflix, hence why I'm watching Vikings now.
What's another one? I'm curious.
Another show.
Like in that realm, that is. I'm saying.
Oh, in that realm, Last
Yeah.
Kingdom on Netflix is really good. They
Someone
just
told me
released
that's even better
more.
than Game of Thrones.
I've argued this. Low
Oh,
key. Low key. It can
oh.
compete. It can compete. It can
Is it
absolutely compete.
how many seasons?
4, and the 4th
Okay.
season just dropped on Netflix. I'm finished with it, but
All
it
right. Say
really
less. I'm watching this now. I had
you
enough.
should. You got to. You got to. You got to. You got to. It's so good. I love Last Kingdom. And then Vikings after that. After you watch Last Kingdom, go to Vikings because their stories are actually very similar, and so it'll like blow your mind. But
Gotcha.
yeah, so stuff like that for me, like even it doesn't matter what the subject is. Like even if it's not a show, it could be music, it could be a place. Like if just because I don't want to listen to so and so artist or their music is not my thing, doesn't mean I can't comprehend why their fans are their fans
Mm-hmm.
and know how to reach their fans. Like if you're really like a marketer for real, you can market anything. Like I could sell this vintage Columbia mug to you that you don't watch me drink out of. Like,
I think you've been trying to do that this whole time, like subconsciously trying to get me to buy them.
like I could literally, it's literally like I could sell water to a whale, and I don't speak whale.
Salt to a smell?
Huh? Yes.
Salt to a smell?
I could. I really
Okay.
could. Like I really could. And if you get to know me, you definitely understand. Like I have sold. I'm a negotiator too. So like I
I
strike
respect
deals
those kind of
all the time.
people. Yeah, I
I'll
respect
strike
that.
a deal in a supermarket. I damn near sell the product to the person so I can get the price that I want. Like that.
You the person that be arguing over 35 cents at the
No,
register, like, oh,
not arguing. Not
okay.
arguing. But I will absolutely, if I don't feel I'd be like, oh well, I get a lot of stuff for free at the store. I don't know how, but I get a lot of stuff for free. Sometimes just because I'm nice and I just be like, oh, just go. Because that's another thing. Like you gotta be, I have this thing I say, right? Marketing is psychology. So in order to know marketing, you gotta know people. And a big part of people is being a person, right? And being a people person. So when I go into anywhere, I'm speaking to you. I'm saying hello. And I'm not just a little like, oh, what's up? Hey, like when I go into my store, I'm like, hi, how are you? How was your day? Like, what's going on? Do I got this? We cracking jokes. So people but that's just me. I'm not doing it because I want free shit. Like, that's just me. So,
and you just happen to get the free shit.
So nice. Yeah, I be trying to pay. The one by my house, I be trying to pay. I'd be like, please, like, I gotta like leave the money on account. He'd be like, please, come on, cut it out.
Yeah, see me.
Like, please just go.
See me, I just go through the self-checkout line and certain things just happen, but we don't gotta talk about that on camera.
You shouldn't, because you might have some snapshots worldwide.
Exactly. You leave certain water cases on the bottom of the cart. You just like look straight ahead, but What was your favorite most recent album? We're against like a speed round of questions. Favorite most recent album and favorite album of all time.
Ooh. Damn. All right. Okay. Most recent album, I will say what came to mind. Kehlani's album. I really think she did a great job. I'm still listening to it right now. Her and Summer Walker's album also, I think, is really good. Like, replay value is a big thing these days because sometimes you listen to a project, amidst the hype of the release, and then maybe there's a couple of songs that you go back to, but for the most part, you can't listen to it all the way through. Those two albums, I think Summer especially, because I've had way more time to sit with that one. Like, I can still turn that on and just vibe. Kehlani, I'm just super proud because I've been a fan of her for a while, and she's grown. Like, I like to hear artists growing in the music, not just like reading the same thing over and over again, different cover. Like, no, she's really grown. And she just keeps evolving and evolving. I think she's going to be one of the staple artists of our time of our wave of music. I think the same way how we listen back to certain like R&B artists from years ago, like somebody actually compared her to Aaliyah, which she didn't like, and I didn't like that they did that either, because I believe in letting artists be themselves. Like, they're not the so-and-so, they're themselves. She's not the next Aaliyah. She's not the Aaliyah of our generation. She's Kehlani, right? But I will say that I do think that her music, along with others like Summer, are going to be things that when I'm 40, whatever, I'm going to go back and listen to. My kids are going to be like, oh my God, like, this is a vibe. When they trying to be like,
it's time to clean. It's time to clean on Sunday. Like,
yeah, like I feel like, they're going to be some of those like staple, albums. Like, when we doing versus 20 years from now, I feel like their names are gonna come up because they've had they put out some music. SZA, like, there's certain albums like Control, like that's something that you're gonna be like, damn, I love that album, I'll still put that on. And so yeah, I would say that's my most recent favorite.
Okay. And side note, I definitely agree, especially because I interview a lot of artists, and I don't do like, yo, you remind me of J. Cole. Like, I usually ask them.
That sucks as an artist.
It's kind of like an insult, yeah. But I usually think, I have my brain actually, I feel like you're a combination of certain people, whatever. So then I typically ask, who are like your biggest influence of like sound or style? Cause I definitely feel like if I listen to someone, I definitely feel like I listen to someone, oh yeah, you definitely sound like Kendrick and Nas, some shit like that, whatever. Like, and those are two different artists, two different eras put it together. Oh, you sound like that. I see you put that out type thing. What's it going?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I just feel like that's something we do so much too, not just in music, but in general. It's like somebody can't just be dope, and we'd be like, "Yo, you dope." It's like
you gotta find a familiarity in your brain.
It's a human thing. I don't think people mean harm. Most people don't mean harm by it, but it's just like, oh, you dope, but you remind me of. It's like, oh, you're the next. Oh, like you like a young Oprah, and it's like, I'm a young me. And it's like dope, like, because these people are normally like very amazing folks. But I think when you are creatively inclined, like, you're trying to carve your own path. So I feel like I understand why some artists take that the wrong way. It's also bad because it's like when you don't live up to those expectations or you want to swerve left or right, now people are like, what the hell? And it's like, they're not that person. They are themselves. And it takes a minute sometimes, I guess, to like carve out your own like legacy and like brand, takes a minute, but eventually if you stay consistent, people kind of give you your own platform, and then now they calling other people you. So
and they do it all over again. Like, why are you always comparing me to Junae? How would you answer this question? What stands between you and happiness?
Nothing.
Okay. Would you rather lose all your old memories? I always get this question wrong. Would you rather lose all your old memories and only be able to make new ones, or never be able to make new ones and keep the old ones?
Lose my old ones. Wait, let me think about this.
And by the way, you can still know who people are, of course, from the past. You just don't remember. things. Yeah.
Damn. So this is an interesting question because I feel like a lot of my memories help shape who I am.
Mm-hmm.
But in the same breath, I just feel like there's so much more to do and so much newness. And I feel like I'm definitely in a space in my life where I feel like very blank canvas and I'm getting ready to enter a new chapter. And so I'm excited about the more. Like, I think I've maybe spent enough time with old memories. So I will choose the new memories.
Okay, cool. Just forget everything your mom did for you. So
No!
ungrateful little.
It's like, if you remember the person, then you gotta remember something. I don't know. That's just a matrix question.
Would you rather, another matrix question? Stop showing the mug. I see what you're doing. I see what's going on with this, with the marketing.
No Colombian marketing happening right now. Love them, but no marketing.
Would you rather discover something great and share it, or evil and prevent it?
Great and share it. Evil prevented. I think great and share it. The world and life is all about balance. You cannot have good without evil. And I think it's unrealistic I think it's better to, if you find something great and you're sharing it with the world, that's only going to equate to more greatness. And greatness is the only thing that kind of casts out evil. I feel like my answer is super deep. That casts out evil. If you prevented evil, there's probably another one lurking around the corner. Or I don't know. I'm also just a really super positive person. So, and that's what I enjoy, is sharing greatness. So I would say that I think my act of sharing greatness is to prevent evil. So that's like my whole purpose behind sharing good things. So
I like it. Who do you consider the most important person in your life, and how could you improve the relationship in any way?
So the most important person in my life is me. It's me. It wasn't always that way. But now the most important person in my life is me, and I
First time I've ever had that answer, and I appreciate it.
Really, I'm wow. I'm actually like, I'm honored to be the first person to say that. Yeah. So the most important person in my life right now is me, because I understand that I'm a very giving, loving person. Like, nearly everything I do in some way, shape, or form is for others. But in order to be able to do that, like, I can't pour from an empty cup. I have to take care of me. I have to prioritize myself. I have to like really go for the things that I want, because at the end of the day, you wake up and you go to sleep with yourself, no matter who's around you. This is not a trial run. Like, life is not a trial run, and like, you're here to like do your purpose. You're here to like use your gifts. And so in order to do that, I have to take care of me and my relationship with me. I got to understand me, like what's making me tick, what I like, what I don't like, what I need, what I don't need. Like, I think when you focus inward for real, all of your outward is already taken care of. You see all your relationships with others become better because you're focusing actually on you, because that's what you can control. You can't control anybody else. So if you controlling you though, focus on you, then your relations with other people and your interactions just get a lot better. You're more understanding. When you have grace with yourself, you can have grace with other people. When you show yourself kindness, then you can easily show kindness to somebody else. I think sometimes that's usually the problem, is that we're trying to like do these things with people outwardly, but for some reason, we're not focused on ourselves. So now you're just like kind of spitting out all the stuff that you're ignoring on and projecting it onto somebody else. When if you would just be still and focus on you, right? And stop using what other people are doing to ignore stuff you don't want to face, life gets a lot better after that. And I think to improve my relationship with myself, I just need to keep doing what I'm doing, which really is prioritizing me and not feeling bad about it.
I've had a sentiment for of just saying like being self-centered has such a negative connotation, but if you're not centered in yourself, how can you even move
You
properly?
can't. It's like a sail. It's like if you're not centered, then like you're just flailing in the wind. Or you could go be blown in any direction if you're not like anchored. And what I've learned too is that it's not, selfish. I struggle with this so much, like feeling like selfish is such a bad term. Self-centered is such a bad thing. But honestly, people only don't like it when it doesn't line up with whatever they want you to do, usually. Also,
Which
I
is selfish.
changed it. Right. So I'm like, so you're also being selfish, but all right. So I think it's really self-preservation. And I think when you operate from a place of self-preservation, it's not selfish. You are just making sure that you are okay, you're whole, so that you can be that to and for everyone else. But I think especially Black people and especially Black women, I feel like we're sort of given this self-sacrificial role sometimes, where like we always gotta take one for the team. We always gotta like hold it down, like ride till the wheels fall off. Oh, it's okay. I'll sacrifice my stuff here so that the kids will be all right, so that my man could do this. And like, I don't think that's good. Like, I don't think we should keep doing that. I think that everybody
And
should.
shout out to the women that have done it or whatever, but that shouldn't have to be what you have to do. Like.
Absolutely, because I've seen women in my life that I love dearly do that. And like, I am forever eternally grateful for their sacrifices. But in the same breath, I absolutely wish that they had done stuff for them that they wanted to do. And I think I've been grateful to see it from both sides. I've seen during the sacrifices what happened, and I've also seen the result. I've seen them get to a place where they're like, I wish I was able to do all these things for me. So I think with that being said, I've always just promised myself that I would not do that. And again, granted, like, that's not to say you never have to make sacrifices for people and things that you love. That's impossible. Everyone has to do that. Like, it's not all about you. But I think making the decision to prioritize yourself first so that you are the best version of yourself, so that you know realistically when you should make those sacrifices, and so that when you make them, they're not detrimental sacrifices. They're just maybe a moment of uncomfortability, not a lifetime. I think that's important. So
I agree.
That's my take.
Speaking of sacrificing, would you be willing to sacrifice your finger to win immunity from all major diseases forever? Sacrifice.
I mean, I got nice hands. I mean, but
do you have nice feet though?
Yeah, I like my feet.
Okay.
I'm nice hands. Lose a finger for immunity to diseases. I mean, no, I don't think
so. Self-preservation.
I don't think I would, just because I also believe in destiny, and like, I truly imagine that I'm going to die from old age. Like, I don't think I'm gonna have a catastrophic like disease type of death. I think I'm going to like really just pass away peacefully at my estate. but crazy I've thought about this, right? But
no, me too. I think about it so much that I think, see, you ain't positive than me. I was thinking like, I can't go a certain way because that's just gonna be ass. Like, I can't. It's just so many ways to die that's just corny.
Yeah, I'm like, I ain't going out like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think for immunity to all diseases, like
pinky, just lose pinky.
It would have to be my left pinky.
Left pinky? Okay.
And that's just so awkward. Like, for the rest of and I talk with my hands. So it's like, it's not like, come on. I type, I write a lot. Like, I don't think so. To me, I wouldn't do that. I feel like that's like, no, I just wouldn't do it. Honestly, I feel like I don't blame somebody if they would, but I don't see the need for that. I am not so afraid of like diseases, and again, nobody wants diseases, but I'm not so afraid of that I'd give up my pinky.
Gotcha.
I'd actually know somebody who doesn't have a pinky, and they're okay, but like, No,
They don't be on balance. Okay, cool. What if you had to choose free unlimited service for 5 years?
Okay.
Which would you pick? Chauffeur, cook, masseuse, housekeeper, or personal secretary?
Okay, you said, first of all, that sounds like a goddamn dream. You said chauffeur, cook,
masseuse,
masseuse.
housekeeper, secretary.
Okay, so for me, personally, it's between the masseuse and the secretary.
Okay.
Free for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like outstanding service, not like, oh,
yeah. 5-star.
Okay, because people like, yeah, I do it for free, and it's a horrible job. Like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Sure.
5 years, I would say. Now, I love a massage. Like right now, the thing I miss the most
underrated
outside is like I get massages monthly. Like that's like a self-care thing for
I
me.
always tell myself I should, but I always lose rhythm.
You should. Like it's just life changing. Like right now, my body is like, girl, what are you doing?
It's impossible to leave a massage and not feel better. It's impossible. So they are.
And I'm like high stress. Like my work, like they be like, every time I go to a new masseuse, they're like, what do you do for a living? I'm like, I run my own business. They're like, oh, okay. They're like, well, you need to be in here. First, that's why I started doing it monthly. They were like, you need to do at least once a month. They're like, really? I want you in here every week, but
damn. You work in a fucking coal mine? Like, what is wrong with you?
They be like, oh, snap. So the masseuse is tempting as hell, but I'm actually right now getting into the phase where I think I need an assistant. So I would say secretary, because the amount of time and like efficiency that I would be on with a secretary, I would make way more money and I could pay for all that other stuff, to be real. So I'll go with the secretary. My answers are so long. People probably be like, quick. My answers is all like, I got a whole story.
Yeah, we would have been done by now. But I appreciate the experiment.
So long-winded, like you could cut me. Like I'm so
like, oh yes, I mean, but I do my pinky, and then
I'm like, I like to think about these answers every time I'm in like one of these like blitz questions. I'm like, I need to think about my answer.
Right. I mean, better that than passing. I have people pass, and that
Really? Oh, that's lazy.
Yeah.
That's lazy.
What is your best childhood memory?
My best childhood memory is probably throwing pool parties with my cousins on my grandmother's patio backyard. I would like get a budget together, aka ask my grandfather for money, and we would like
get a silent investor, you know.
Yes, I get a silent investor. We order like pizza and stuff from like the Kennedys. Like we get ice cream. We go to like the dollar store, rack up on all the good candy, and then like I had like the radio playing or like whatever CDs, and then I'd have games coordinated. Like we used to be lit.
Silent question. You been in Chicago before?
No, I really want to go though. Dying to. I have so many friends from Chicago that are like great people, so I think I'll love it there.
Okay. I was going to ask you if y'all had the best pizza or not, because I always see that.
I've had Chicago style pizza. I haven't had it in Chicago, so I can't say that, but I've had Chicago style pizza, and although it's good, shout out to like places like Uno's, but people say that's not good Chicago pizza, but whatever. New York, you cannot beat a New York slice. Like I'll go to not even, it don't even have to be somewhere far. I can go to like Connecticut and I'm like, ooh, I can go. It's just not the same. Like you're not beating New York pizza, New York Chinese food, New York West Indian food. Like you're not beating us with a hero. You're not beating us with a hero sandwich. So like, but Philly got some good food though.
All right, yeah, but come on now. Yeah.
Every time I've been to Philly, I like Philly. Honestly, if I felt like I could do everything I'm doing like in Philly, that's definitely some place where I probably wouldn't mind living. Like I actually really like Philly. I've never met somebody from Philly that I didn't like. Also, one of my best friends, Kim, she's from Philly. So I like Philly. Every time I go, I have a good time.
Shout out to you, Queen.
Yes.
If you could witness any event, past or the future, what would it be?
Witness any event, past or the future, what would it be? Witness. I don't think any future stuff, because like I want to experience those in the moment. and I know they're coming. I think a past event, probably like something where I could see like Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson perform, and like maybe Maya Angelou was speaking, like something like that.
Okay. Favorite Michael Jackson song?
It's hard. It's really hard. I really love Remember the Time, but I also really love Dirty Diana. Like I have a thing with that song. So one of those two.
It's different. Yeah. I just had a Michael Jackson day the other day, and Dirty Diana was the first song I picked. That song is yeah.
It's a good song. It's eclectic, but it's good.
Dirty Diana definitely like in my top 6 or 7. If I had to pick one, it would probably be Billie Jean. That's like
Billie Jean's so good. I would say Remember the Time just because there's songs by Michael. I love all his music, and there's songs that I love because I love them and they're good. But Remember the Time is a Michael Jackson song that I lived through. And so to me, it was like I organically liked it, like as a kid. And I'm like, wow, everything about this is amazing. So
yeah, video, iconic, for sure.
Everything.
Number one place in the world you want to visit?
It used to be Italy, but not right now.
Streets is done. Streets is done.
Yeah, God bless them, seriously, because like it's a lot going on. But I'd say the islands of Fiji. That's where I want a honeymoon.
Okay, cool. Do you need a wedding?
I'm having one, and it's gonna be phenomenal.
If you thought that freshman year party was crazy, this wedding.
What?
I'm inviting the dean, like
so fired. Like, there's no way. And granted, marriage is not about a wedding, right? It's way more important to me to have like a good partner the right partner that I can grow with, love eternally. However, I'm an event producer, and I love an amazing event. And a wedding is something that like I've been thinking about the event for so long that I am having one, and it's going to be phenomenal. And I only plan on doing it once. So we are pulling out all the stops. And honestly, if I were to have a fiance that didn't want that right there says he's not the one. Because even if, or not to say because he didn't want it, if he's disagreeing with it. Because you don't have to want it. But if you love me, then you're gonna make it.
You don't gotta want anything, but just be there. And
I mean, hopefully I have a husband that's like wants to be involved, because I want it to feel like him too. I hate weddings where it's like, all right, this was clearly the bridezilla. And that's it. He just, like you say, he showed up on time in his suit with his folks. And that's it.
On time with your haircut.
I feel like all of us, like both of us. And I'm so excited about my wedding that I'm not engaged for, but I'm excited. I'm like a person who watches all them shows, like David Tutera, weddings.
Yeah, I get it from my mom. I've definitely watched a lot of Say Yes to the Dress in my life. Like, yeah,
good stuff. That's good.
It's entertaining. But so yeah, I'm definitely not like a wedding type. I don't really care about that. However, if the day ever comes, there's a few components that need to be in place. That's all I care about. Everything else can be planned by the bride. Okay. One, I have to control the music. I know what music needs to be involved. She can pick her song if she want to walk down to. That's fine. But
you got the reception and everything.
Yeah, reception playlist is locked down, whatever. Like, so that's already mentally programmed. 2, we need a sweet potato pie section. I don't care about the cake. The sweet potato pie section. Yeah. 3.
Pies? An auntie or something that has a fly?
No, I actually don't. Like these days, the person I should go to, like she actually passed away, whatever. So I just go to shop.
Sorry.
Yeah, I go to shop.
Then make sure it's Patty's pies though, because that's not a joke. Her pies are good.
Hot take. Patty pies didn't do it for me. I had it one time, didn't do it for me.
Or a store-bought pie. Name a better store-bought pie.
ShopRite.
The ShopRite brand pie?
Brown's pie. ShopRite Brown's pie, yeah.
I've never had it, so I can't say. For me, out of the selection of store-bought pies that I've had, Patty's is number one. Like, it tastes the most like a homemade somebody auntie sprinkled a little something in it.
Sure. And she's from Philly, so I'll give her a bail.
Oh, you're not loyal. You're not loyal.
I wasn't loyal.
Wow, Patty, look, now you might have lost your wedding sponsorship for the Patty Pies. It's on record. See?
And also, last, I need a chicken finger section. That's all I need.
Yes.
Yeah, don't make that face. Don't make that face. I just need a chicken finger section. That's all I need.
How we gonna dress up chicken fingers?
I don't care. You got the chicken finger section with the ketchup right there.
Prayers to the wedding planner. I would be like, chicken fingers. I gotta make chicken fingers cool. Like, all right. I guess you can have different types.
You can do everything else you want to do. Yeah.
Different sauces, like chicken finger fountain. Okay.
That'd be fun. I'm gonna write that down. But all right. Yeah, you're an event producer. What was I say? What are you most afraid of, if anything?
I am most afraid of, this is one of my favorite questions too. I am most afraid of succumbing to fear. My biggest fear used to be like not reaching my highest potential or something weird like that, like not fulfilling my purpose. But I realized that fear in itself is just such a blockage. So my only fear is fear itself. Oh, wow. That's what that quote means. Crazy. But I never thought about it that way. You hear it so much, but literally, like, that's what I'm afraid of is fear, because fear can be so paralyzing. It can really make you miss out on all the greatness that's before you. So my only fear is to become a victim to fear. So I spend a lot of my life living fearlessly and pushing myself past fears when they show up, because they show up, we're humans, but it's really about what you do with it. Everything that you want is on the other side of fear. And I feel like that's where I'm at right now in life. It's like, oh, I'm on the other side. Like, I'm just doing everything.
Gotcha. What would you say is your life motto or philosophy?
Perfection is simply the best version of you.
I like it. Who would you want to have dinner with? One person dead, one person alive, anybody.
Okay. Dead person, Maya Angelou. Person alive, dinner, Oprah.
Okay. Describe yourself in 3 words. We know what Rihanna's 3 words are, but
right. Junae's 3 words. Yeah. Innovative. That's hard. 3, just 3.
That's it. No more. That's all you are in life.
Yeah. Innovative, impactful,
talk heavy.
And innovative, impactful, and innovative, impactful, and I guess just light.
Light? You are the light? Okay, I like it. If you had $1 billion, what would be the first luxurious thing you buy yourself?
Luxurious thing I buy myself? Like luxurious, right? Not like...
It ain't responsible. It ain't...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thing like that.
Nope.
Luxurious. What's something that I even want that's like not responsible? Probably some luxurious. I mean, maybe a PJ, like maybe a private jet.
Oh, okay. That's the first time answer again.
Maybe a private jet. I mean, because at the point that I'm at $1 billion, like I pretty much probably have a bunch of other stuff. So I'd say.
Oh no, you get it tomorrow. You get $1 billion tomorrow.
Oh, like tomorrow?
Yeah. What's the first thing you buy? Yeah, type thing. It can still be the PJ though. You go like, yeah, like you wake up, you know what? Straight to the
Get
plane.
PJ. Like, hey, give me. And I got some friends that are in like the private luxury flight world. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me some nice interior. You know,
Give me that.
Someone outside. Like something that makes no sense that like I don't need, but like let's get it. Yeah,
Right,
probably. I feel like cars, homes, clothes, those are still necessities. So like a private jet is not something that I need. Mm-hmm. And it's also probably not the best for the environment. I don't know. I still have to look into that. So that's my answer. Definitely a private jet.
If you ever seen the movie 16 Blocks?
I don't think so.
Yeah, nobody has. Somehow I don't know how this happened. Whatever. No, it's old. It came out maybe like about 10 years ago. Bruce Willis and Mos Def. Not important though. It's better that people haven't seen it. But so imagine yourself at a bus stop. This area is about to blow up, like a bomb is coming, whatever. There's a car at the bus stop. The car can somehow get you to safety. Don't worry about the reality or the practicability of the situation. But the car can get you to safety. Only 2 people can get in the car. Nobody can get on the hood, the top, hang on. Only 2 people, that's it. You're there, the love of your life, your best friend who saved your life, and a little kid you don't know. Who gets in the car?
The little kid.
Who?
Me and the little kid.
Interesting. Fuck that kid, man. I like
kids are the future, and I've lived
at this point.
At this point, like the love of my life, I love you, but then and my best friend have lived so much life. I don't know if either of them gonna take care of this kid like I would, and and just
I'm sorry. Whoa. By the way, it isn't the end of the world. I remember.
Yeah, but this is shit about to blow.
Yeah, make sure.
Yeah, so it's about to blow. So I think I would take the little kid. Like, y'all have lived enough life. This kid, first of all, it's a kid. We're the parent. I don't know. The kids are innocent. Like, they're innocent into the future, and we don't know what the kid would become. Like, the kid's there for a reason. And so I feel like their destiny is somehow tied to this moment. And if they're a child, they still have a lot more life to live. So this is not the end of the road for them. We don't know what impact they could have on the world because I chose them to get out of there to live. So I'm choosing the kid. Like, that's some real destiny shit happening. Like, okay, me and the kid get in the car. I'm sorry, we gotta go. Love y'all.
Very fascinating. Your answer just made me feel like I gotta pat myself on the back with this whole question, because you got the answer wrong. But like the original question is I switched it. I feel me switching it made you give this very fascinating, very interesting answer. But the original answer is there's no kid, there's an old lady. And so if that was the case, what do you think you would do? Also, I think it's interesting that but whatever. He said, what would you do there?
If it's an old lady instead of the kid, I love old people, but person, you've lived your life. Let's be real. Mm-hmm. Let's be real. You've lived your life, and honestly, you probably can't move. The old person would probably say, "Leave me here."
It's destiny. I got 3 more years left. Take me.
Oh, right. Every old person I know would tell me and somebody else to get in the car. Mm-hmm. So I'm leaving the old person. Love of my life or my best friend. I'm going with my best friend. Because love of your life, I don't know, love and romance is such a funny thing.
Like our wedding. Like, what you mean?
I mean, if I'm married to the person, that's different. If we're married, then fuck. All right, I'm going with my husband because that's my life partner. I made a decision. If it's just somebody that I'm really in love with and the love of my life and we haven't made that commitment yet, I'm taking my best friend. Like, they were here.
I was just about to propose to you, though.
You act stupid. They're gonna be here after you. They saved my life before. Like, what the hell? I really wanted to choose my best friend regardless. But if I was married, that's a different conversation.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I think it's also interesting that you say you going no matter what, though. Self-preservation. I respect it. But supposedly the real answer.
Humanitarian. You know, I thought about leaving myself, but it's just like I also thought about like if somebody came to mind as a love of my life and my best friend comes to mind, I'm just got to think about too, like when it comes to either of those people, like would they be able to survive this without me anyway? And just I'm like, I don't know. I think I'm definitely, in the movies, there's some characters that's like they're not prepared for this at all. They're not gonna make it.
Right.
Me and my friends have always joked about this. God forbid we were ever in like a horror situation, an apocalypse, anything like that.
You're the main character. Yeah.
Likely to make it.
God.
I am. And save a bunch of people with me. Because now my thing is we're getting out of there, but then it's like everything, my life has changed at that point. Everything I have to do after for the rest of my life. So I think so.
Gotcha. Supposedly the real answer to the riddle is you stay there with the love of your life to die, and the best friend and the old lady go. Tough.
Real romantic. No. No.
Wrong riddle. And also, so how about this? Lastly, what would you say this chapter of your life is actually called? You had to give it a title and a table of contents.
Title and table of contents. Ooh, I like this question. Title. It's between like blank canvas and fresh notebook.
Okay.
Or new notebook. I like new notebook better. So like new notebook is the title.
Okay.
Table of contents is like
I didn't mean the whole table of contents.
Okay, I wasn't there. I gotta think about that. Chapter 1 is called Blank Canvas, though. That's like a theme for my life right now. But the book is called New Notebook.
Okay, cool. I like it. Okay, cool. Would you say you enjoyed yourself? We had a good time?
Yes, this was fun.
Glad you had a good time. Like I said, we've been trying to lock this down since like 99, like in the 2000s. And we had to go through the Y2K, then the first recession, then it's a second recession, and then, out here. But I'm glad you had a good time. Want to promote anything so people know where to find you at? Anything to mention?
Sure. So you can follow my company, Brown to Perfection, for all things marketing, motivation, at B2P agency everywhere. You can also follow me at Junae Brown, Junae Brown, color, on Twitter and Instagram. And you can check out my content series called Brownie Bites on IGTV or Twitter. And by the time this comes out, YouTube, where I help creatives learn how to effectively market their brands in short videos.
Cool. Sounds good. And also, if you thought this conversation was at least halfway decent, not horrible, you didn't fall asleep too many times, you can subscribe on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, anything. RIghtonQuelive. Not the letter Q, spell it out, QUE, RIghtonQuelive, one word. And also, I did a compilation album on a bunch of Philly and Jersey artists. Search that on all streaming services. Type in RIghtonQuelive, We Are Live. Look it up, all the good stuff. And thank you again, Miss.
For having me. Stay safe. Everybody who's listening, stay safe, stay healthy. I'm really happy that we did this, and I had a good time.
Same way, appreciate it. And I always tell people, anytime I have a dope, ambitious woman in here, I always like it because, at least for me personally, like I always like seeing just super motivated, ambitious people. But it's something about a woman handling her shit in a very seamless, graceful way that it resonates with me more. So I respect you and wish all the best for you.
You as well. Appreciate that. Same.
All right. Gotcha. Be good. See ya.
You too.
All right.
Later.